friend. Have you read all the books, blogs, podcasts, Instagram posts, etc.? You think you know how to be a good mom, but you feel like you're hopelessly flawed and can't do all those things? Do you feel like you're drowning in motherhood and at best you can tread water sometimes, but you're just not getting anywhere? You're still stuck in all the same ruts. Your kids are out of control, your house is a mess, and you can't find any motivation to change any of it? You just feel terrible all the time, stressed out, burned out, and over it? Well, I have great news for you. You have come to the right place. I've got you. I'm Emily Wardrop from Drop the Word Life Coaching. I'm an advanced certified life coach, and I want to let you in on one little simple secret that can change everything for you. You want to know how to be a good mom? I'm going to tell you the secret. Are you still listening? The secret is you already are. Join me on this journey to believe you are a good mom. Here we go. Yeah, right. Okay, welcome back to Believe You Are a Good Mom. I have Meredith Gardner with me today. This is so exciting. So Meredith is, get this is so good. I love her thing. She's the hard conversations coach. Okay, so if you have a hard time having conversations with people because you've labeled them as hard, then she is here for you, my friend. So specifically today, of course, we're going to talk about having hard conversations like with our children. But before we jump into that, let's just get an introduction. Meredith, tell everybody all about you.
Thank you, Emily. I'm so excited to be here. You're so fun to talk with. I'm Meredith Gardner. I live in Western Colorado. I've been married for 30 years. We just celebrated our 30th anniversary in Italy.
Congrats. Oh, yes.
It was like on our bucket list for years. It was so fun to go. We have 5 daughters that range from 28 to 15, almost 16. They are amazing, amazing people. And I am the hard conversation coach for women who don't like confrontation. Mm-hmm. So I help you understand why your conversations might feel like confrontation and how to make them feel more like connection instead.
Nice. So
and
good.
I credit my 5 daughters for helping me
there we go.
learn how to do that. I was not always great at having hard conversations. I was always willing. I always wanted to like jump in and talk about things and work things out. But the way I approached it was not creating connection. It was more like pushing them farther away. Anyway, we can talk more about that later, but I distinguish, a big part of what I do is distinguishing actual confrontation from created confrontation, because there are times when people approach you in an aggressive way or maybe accuse you of things, right? Or there's some hostility or criticism involved that is actual confrontation that causes our body to react automatically, like fight or flight kind of thing. But there's also confrontation that is created because you think it's going to be difficult. You're afraid of their reaction. You don't think you know the right words to say, or you want a specific response in return, right? And so then it is created confrontation, which completely changes the way you enter the conversation. And so I can help you with both. I can help you with the actual confrontation just to build more confidence and give yourself some grace for reacting, being afraid or fearful in those actual confrontations. But also I want to help women to have the confidence to say what they want to say, to find their voice, because for so long, women, we serve and give to others. And then when we try to speak up, we feel unheard or disregarded, misunderstood, right? And then that create, the way we interpret those reactions doesn't always benefit us. And so I want to help women feel like more confident in entering hard conversations and to stop saying, I hate confrontation. I'm not good at confrontation, right? There's just like, Nobody says, I love confrontation.
Right. I'm so good at it.
I'm so good at it.
I'm so good at it. I start it all the time. I create it all the time. I totally know what you're talking about. In fact, I create it by making things mean that I'm being attacked when I'm definitely not.
Right. Right. That's very good point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
if we were talking about marriage today, then we could go into that. But let's focus on the kids' relationship, because I'm not ready for a coaching session on that today.
Okay. So
Maybe another time without the record. Anyway.
Right. Right. So I go into just why are you interpreting it as confrontation? Like I'll go back to my kids again, right? I usually approach things as like either tiptoeing or bulldozing, right? It was either like, don't want to upset anybody. And so I'm just going to tiptoe around this passive aggressively kind of thing. Yep. Or I'm so upset about this, or I'm so uncomfortable. I want to get this over with. I have this thing to say and she needs to hear it. By golly, she's going to understand me. Right. And so you bulldoze your way into it. And both of those just are so unproductive. They don't create the true connection that you are looking for. They create a bigger wedge in relationships, and you feel even more frustrated at the end because it didn't work again, Yeah.
And I think there's like personality differences in here, right? And so because I'm sort of more of a bulldozing type personality, I see the tiptoers as like, oh, they're just walking on eggshells and that's so annoying. Like, why are they beating around the bush? Why can't they just tell me directly what they want? As if their way is wrong and my way is right. And that's the big thing that I've tried to switch. It's like, it's just a different way of being uncomfortable about this, and that I feel uncomfortable. And so I plow forward, but that's not how they are. And I'm like plowing them over because they're walking on eggshells that I just smashed with my bulldozer.
Yes. Yes. And isn't it interesting, depending on who you're talking to, right? You can feel completely comfortable saying anything or flubbing, sometimes we say things wrong and we're like, oh, wait, that's not what I meant. Like, let me try that again. Right. But with other people, we're like, so rigid or nervous.
Well, it's the freeze, right? And so we go into fight or flight, and then we're like so nervous to get it wrong that we just can't do anything.
Right. Like but we think it's the other person. Yeah. We think it's the person we're talking to that makes us comfortable talking to them. Right.
I keep just wanting to talk about my husband, and I'm like, I'm not getting coached on this right now. Stay on topic.
Maybe we just should go there, Emily.
I guess we're talking about parenting another day.
You block until you're able to talk about this,
right? Yeah, because I'm making it mean that he's judging me, and he's the only person in the world that I care that's judging me. Like everybody else is like, go ahead, whatevs, be wrong about me or trust me. Like I judge myself harder than you can, so who cares? Yeah. I'm like, why am I so weird around him? Like I can't be myself around him or his friends or his family because there's just so much pressure that I have to get it right because I'm going to get in trouble later that I didn't do it right, that I don't do it at all. Whatever it is like just being normal, just hanging out.
Right.
And so I keep blaming him for that. And I'm like fiercely trying to get him to stop being so judgmental, like of other people, because I'm not safe to be myself around him because I know that he's so judgmental of other people that I know he's judging me too. And so that's what I make it all mean. And he knows these coaching tools and he uses them against me. So he's like, well, what are you making it mean? And I'm like, I know that I am. I'm telling you what I'm making it mean, but just stop judging me. I've got this figured out and it's all your fault.
Yeah. Okay. So what if that belief was not even possible to you? Like that belief that he is judging you? If that was not an existing belief and you're able to just show up as you to him because there's no possibility that he's judging you,
then I could just be myself.
Yeah.
Which is who he wants me to be in the first place, which is what all this quote unquote feedback is after a social event that I quote unquote did it wrong. Because I was like being weird. He's like, where's my wife? I want my friends to get to know you. And like, you are nowhere to be found, either literally physically, or at least like for like emotionally.
Because what is wrong if they're judging you? What does that mean if they are judging you?
Well, probably worst case scenario, like my brain is in fight or flight. It makes like with that one relationship, because this is the one relationship that's supposed to last forever. And so it's like, if I get it wrong and I botch it up, then, you know, there's like more at stake. Versus like, if somebody else doesn't like me, who cares? You don't have to hang out with me, but this guy's supposed to be here forever. So they're just all, that's what causes all the pressure to get it right.
Yeah, which comes from believing that he's judging you.
Yeah.
And if you were able to let go of the belief that he was judging you in the first place, then here's Emily, right? Here she is, like her golden, natural, authentic, true self, which is so pure, right? There is no guessing who you are, or who you're trying to be, or if you're, you know, what to eat. And it just like comes, like, we're not like, oh, what should I say? How should I act? What if they respond this way? Like, you're just like, hey, what's new? And your focus is not on you anymore. It's on them, which is so much more connecting.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And now I have a block to this whole coaching session because I'm like, what? But my husband, and who knows how much of his family listened to my podcast. So I'm like,
guess you have to edit this one.
I know. My first edited episode. Just kidding. I won't edit it out, but we'll get back on topic. So thank you. That was helpful. I've got somewhere to go with that now. Okay. So anyway, now all my listeners know what a great coach you are, at least. We demonstrated that much.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, that's good.
I mean, I know that takes some work to do, right?
Yeah.
Like,
but I know where to go.
To truly believe that he's not judging you. But really, even if he is judging you, why is that a problem? Is because of that fear of this is supposed to be forever. And if I mess up, which is right, so much pressure on you.
Yeah.
So then you're not able to show it. It's kind of like, you know, when we're like carrying a glass of water, don't drop the water, don't drop the water, don't drop the water. Right? And it gets shakier and shakier, right?
Yep.
We're just like, I got this, right? It isn't.
Or you don't even think about it at all because you know you can just the water, and then you're thinking about the person you're going to deliver the water to instead.
Right. Or you're like, I got towels. If there's any spills,
yeah, exactly.
There's a way to clean this up. Which is true. Yeah, which is true. Like,
okay, so but that may be related to why people are so spastastic about their relationships with their kids too, right?
Absolutely.
Because every little thing we do with our kids, we're worried it's gonna like mess them up forever and mess up our relationship with them. That even like when our kids are toddlers, like mine, it's like, well, I want to be able to hang out with my grandkids someday. So I better not mess them up so bad that they hate me so much that I can't even hang out with my grandkids. It's like we catastrophize the future.
Well, and I literally, when I held my oldest child, she was a couple weeks old. I remember holding her and looking at her and thinking, I'm going to raise her so that she has no issues.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And in that moment, I created issues.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, big time. That I was going to be the perfect mother and she was going to turn out exactly as I had pictured in my mind. Right. And then as she grew and, you know, was followed by 4 other sisters. Right. And I had this ideal. And then anytime they didn't listen to me, they didn't, you know, behave in the way, I was like, no, not happening. Right. And then I start bulldozing. Then I start, you know, trying to control everything, actually feeling less and less in control internally. Right. And creating more disaster the more I try to control everything. And so it truly, I had to come to, and it took years. Okay. It took years and years to come to, my job is not to control them or fix them. I really also had the opinion that their weaknesses, it was my job to help them, you know, to point them out and to help them. Yeah. Like this, where does this come from? You know, we won't go into that, but right. I had these beliefs that were so damaging, so damaging to my relationship with my kids and to my relationship with myself.
Yeah.
And so now, as I'm recognizing what I did and how I was approaching things, and I have grieved sorely for that. And now my job is to not, I should say, I have to be careful to not go to my kids now and be like, I'm so sorry I messed up. Let me fix this.
Yeah.
Because
Another
that,
layer of fixing.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Now my job is to say, I acknowledge I messed up. How do you think we can move forward together? Like, what would help you that we can do together, and how can we move forward in a healthier way? And this takes many conversations. And
that is so awesome, because like now looking back, you can put words to those thoughts, those beliefs you were having, and see how damaging they were. And even like me hearing you say that, I'm like, oh girl, yeah, that's not a helpful thought when you have a newborn in your arms. But we all do it. We all do it, and we don't realize we're doing it. And that's what coaching is so valuable for, is help us realize what unconscious beliefs are causing the problems that we think our kids are causing.
Yes. I because for years I had a great relationship with my husband. I could make friends, but I had this contention with my children that I didn't understand and couldn't put a finger on. And the more I tried to fix it, it was like the more frustrated I got. It was when you and I were talking about Jody Moore before we started recording, right? It was when I started listening to her podcast, and I had kind of let go of some of the control by the time I heard her podcast. But it was like I was able to finally say, that's what I was doing. I had a manual for them. Oh my gosh, that's what I was doing. That's why it was so painful. Oh my gosh, I was making what they did mean something about me.
Exactly.
Like I finally had words for what I was doing that I did not know I was doing.
Yeah.
And to start like healing all of those things right now. My kids say, Mom, you weren't, like you talk about, like you were a terrible mother, and you weren't a terrible mother. And I appreciate that. I really do. I just know that I caused more pain and hurt in the way I was approaching it than I needed to.
Yeah.
Right.
But now do you know that, and that's okay? And that's part of the whole, that's part of their plan. That's part of my plan. That's part of the
and that
plan.
was a huge part of healing for me, was when I was able to say, I did that, and I parented that way. I own that. And I'm still okay. Even though I made those, what felt like horrible mistakes and horrible, methods of parenting. But to be able to forgive myself and say, I literally was doing the best I thought I could. I literally thought I was doing what I should be doing in the best way that I could. And now I just know a better way, a more pure and loving and connecting way.
Yeah. And for those of us who kind of know some of those ways now, we use that to beat ourselves up even more. We're like, no, but I know a better way, but I'm still doing whatever. And so just trust in the plan. Like the point of coming down to earth is to make mistakes. The point is to figure it out. The point is not like, here's the perfect parenting method. Do it perfectly. Your kids will turn out perfect and everyone will be happy forever. Like that's clearly not the plan.
No. So, and why I interpreted that was the plan at some point, I think just is tied to how I felt unaccepted in parts of my life growing up. And so I was going to then, my children were going to fill that part that felt unaccepted, and they were going to accept every part of me. And then when they didn't, I was like, okay, well, now who's supposed to do it?
Yep. And all of our childhood wounds are like that, right? And we're all learning more about this now, that like that wherever it is that it's like a tension, a trigger with our kids, and there's a childhood wound in ourself we need to heal, not we need to fix the kid.
Yeah.
Like the kids
Yeah.
just themselves.
And
And
I'm
we're
just
just
so,
causing their childhood wounds that they
yes.
can heal
Yes.
themselves later someday.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we're all just in, a messy middle, because that's
Yeah.
the phase we're in right now.
And it's so much more helpful to move forward from, oh, I get it now, and I'm going to accept them wholly while I accept myself, than to continue to beat yourself up over the way you did it before, or
Yeah.
so much healthier.
Or the way we're going to do it tomorrow, because we know
Yeah.
we still don't have it right.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just really encourage the women I coach to stop labeling things as confrontation and call them opportunities for connection. You have a disagreement about money, you're not on the same page about how you raise your kids, like the way you approach it is going to make a huge difference into how you show up in the conversation, and even your ability to approach it. Because like I said, some people just don't even want to go there. It's like too hard, too painful. There's too much disagreement, on and on and on. We don't want to make them mad. We don't want them to, get mad at us. And so all this fear holds us back from really beautiful opportunities to understand somebody better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
good. I love your niche so much because it's so specific. Like the problem is so specific, but it's still so universal. Like everyone needs help with these conversations, but it's because life coaching can help anybody with anything, that it's hard to even say what it is. Like, oh, you're a life coach. What even is that? But I help people have conversations. They're like, oh yes, I have hard conversation I need to have. Can you help me with this? And so I just love it. I think it's so brilliant. And then you can like get very detailed in like, what are the problems? What are the
and really, I don't spend it surprises people. I don't spend a lot of time like, these are the words you say.
Oh yeah.
This is how you say it. I don't spend a lot of time on that, because yourself, the person. Well, that's the goal anyway, to know yourself well enough, and your exchanges with this relationship that you have, that if you can start with clearing up what's motivating you to have, either the way you're behaving or the way you're believing, or the words you want to say, the interaction you want to have, like what is motivating that desire? Is it so they'll listen to you? Is it so you can prove you're right? Is it so you can clear the air? Because those things are not going to bring connection.
Yeah.
Those are just your agenda to put on somebody else, and that's not going to go very far. So we need to clear up your motivation, and then we also need to choose what emotions you want to feel moving into the conversation, because those drive how you act in the conversation.
Yeah.
Right. So I focus on my two favorites, and I like to combine emotions because I just think it makes them more powerful. So like a description of another emotion. So like calm confidence.
Oh, fun.
Right? I use an emotion that describes the way another emotion could be. Calm confidence, right? Kind honesty. Those are my two favorites.
That's a fun trick. I love this.
Yeah, because
it makes purple. Because when you take a blue feeling and a pink feeling, you put them together, it's much more interesting.
Okay. So it's deeper, richer. Yes.
Yeah.
And then you anchor yourselves to those. And I encourage people to practice them. Think of a time when you felt calm confidence. And maybe you'd never put it that way, so you can call it what you want to, right? But that feeling of calm confidence for me is so clear. It's like, I know it's like when you're speaking, or you just know the decision you want to make, or you just know what gift you're going to get. Like whenever you feel like, I just have this really clear idea of what I want, that to me is calm confidence. It's not proud. It's not haughty. You're not like, hey, look at me, anything like that. It's just like, I know this is what I want, and I'm moving forward on this. So take that into your conversation. You're not trying to persuade them. You're just confident in why you're there.
Yeah.
You're confident in your motivation. And then kind honesty deals with how do I want to honor both them and myself kindly, respectfully, and think of a time you were able to do that, like that you were able to speak honestly with love for somebody else. And then practice that, feel it, imagine it, picture it, like visualize yourself speaking that way, and anchor yourself to those feelings. Because then when you enter in the conversation and people go, but you didn't listen, and blah, 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 and you're like anchored there in calm confidence, they can act however they want, they can respond however they want, and you're like, okay, what would calm confidence say to this? And there's some other tricks too that go into it. Like one I'll just mention is agreeing with integrity. So if somebody comes in like, you never listened to me, and you're like, I know I get distracted sometimes, but right now I'm ready to listen. So you're like not defending yourself,
Yeah.
which just causes more problems when we defend ourselves, right? You're like acknowledging what they said. I know I'm distracted often. I'm here right now. So I'm agreeing with you with integrity also for myself.
Yeah.
I'm here for you now. So that's another little trick. Anyway, I'm rambling. Where do you want to go next?
Well, we can just tell people where to find you, and they can get all the rest of the tricks that you're.
Okay. All right. Absolutely. My website is meredithgcoaching.com. I'm on Facebook and Instagram with those as well. I send probably the best way to start with me. I send a weekly email called Tip for Tuesday. That's through that email, I offer powerful ideas for making hard conversations easier. So you get on that email list, you get my weekly email, and then you also get a link for my drop-in call. I offer a Wednesday morning drop-in session that's totally free. And I talk about that tip that I gave you on Tuesday. I then talk about it on Wednesday in my drop-in call, and then I offer free coaching. It's free for now. That's the plan for now. Mm-hmm. And then I have a what's called a month of momentum, where we spend a month, 4 sessions, really digging into life coaching tools, and in between support, we communicate on Voxer. In between sessions, we communicate on Voxer. If you're like, hey, I don't understand this, or I have this problem or whatever, you reach out to me in between sessions, and I can communicate with you on Voxer. And then I also have I curate videos, podcasts, worksheets that will help you with your specific need that you have, and how I can support you in that month. And then also you can come to the weekly drop-in calls during that month of momentum. And then when that month is over, you can continue coming to those weekly drop-in calls, so that you're continuing to understand the tools you've learned and how to apply them. And then I also have a 10 package session just for fun, if somebody decides
more than the 4 weeks,
more than the month. Yeah.
Wow.
But
awesome.
I just, like I said earlier, I always felt like the willingness to have the hard conversation. I was typically not afraid to have the conversation, but I just didn't do it very well. Mm-hmm. And so that's what I've learned, is there's a way to be that lends itself to that opportunity for connection. I'll close with this. As simple, well, it's really not simple, but I'll try to make it short. So my 5 daughters all have varying degrees of faith and belief in God. None of them attend church. And that has been a real challenge for me and my husband, who are very active and dedicated and Christ focused, and just it's all about church. Our whole lives have been. And so that has been a challenge. And so it occurred to me a few weeks ago, Christmas is coming. Some of them don't believe in God. Christmas is on Sunday this year. Mm-hmm. How is this going to look? Suddenly I was like, okay, these are some hard conversations I've got to have. Using these tools of practicing ahead of time what I wanted to feel for my daughters,
Mm-hmm.
how I wanted to honor the holiday that love, the purpose of which is the birth of my Savior, who I feel so much love for, right? How can I approach this with my girls who feel differently and do it in a way that honors both of us? And there's been more than one conversation. There's still conversations to be had. But it's been beautiful to say, help me understand what traditions are important to you that you want to celebrate on Christmas. Christmas is on Sunday. Will you be joining us at church? Some have said no. And I'm like, okay, like I can still feel sad about that they won't all be there at church with me, and I can still love and accept them. And that was something I was not able to do years ago.
And even the invitation to have them come to church with you can be a hard conversation. So going into that, knowing that whatever their answer is, it doesn't mean anything about you.
Right.
And that's, of course, my whole message is that you are a good mom, no matter what your decisions your kids are making. Right.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. And you had mentioned not making the outcome of your conversation mean anything about you or you as a mother, right? So knowing that I was perfectly okay with whatever they said, that I could handle whatever they said.
Yeah.
It just changes the conversation because you're not afraid. Like I said earlier, you don't need to have an agenda for them to respond.
You can even do it in the first place. Because without that, it's just that freeze again,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So it's really provides for such beautiful opportunities, like to look at someone, you can look at them more with more purpose, with more real, true love and connection for them. You're actually listening to them. The voice in your head isn't like, but, trying to, it's just like, just tell me what you are seeing right now. And I will process that. And then this doesn't have to be the only conversation we have about this.
Yeah. So good. Oh my gosh. So good. I know you have another appointment, so I'll let you go, but
thank you.
If you want more connection instead of contention, Meredith's your girl. So fun. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes. Thank you.
And I'll talk to all the rest of you next time. Hey friend, thanks for listening. If you want to learn more about how you can believe that you are a good mom, head over to dropthewordlifecoach.com/believe and you get access to my free pre-recorded masterclass that will teach you all about the hands-on, exactly how to believe that you are a good mom. Start believing right now. Feel the peace, my friend. We got this. You got this. See you there.